Tage Thompson, UPL, shine for the Buffalo Sabres. Can their season be saved from the jaws of life? We'll talk about that after this intro. What's up and welcome to Sabres Edge podcast presented by Nickel City Mafia. My name is Top Shelf Timmy Corks and this is my co-host Sammy Saucy Mitts. Sammy, happy Victory Tuesday. How has your weekend been?
It's been fun. I've had a pretty good week, honestly. I've been cooking, so I've been well fed. With the teams that I enjoy watching seem to be winning pretty recently. I got to go to the Sabres game against the Sharks, so all in all, pretty good. How have you been?
I haven't been too bad myself, had some big victories yesterdays for both the Buffalo teams here, so that made things a lot more easier. And pretty much the Sabres kind of lived up to our expectations that we had for them this past week. Let's go ahead and just delve into those games real quick. So the Sabres faced the Ottawa Senators. They won 5-3. We got goals from Peterka, Thompson 2 times, Krebs, and Cousins. The Sabres actually went 1 for 3 on the power play. And UPL was 20 for 23 with a save percentage of 0.893%. After that, we had a Canucks game. Now, they got shut out by the Canucks 1-0. Not too much to talk about. Lafferty had the lone goal for the Sabres. We're going to delve into it a little bit, but we'll talk about the elbow that Darlene took from JT Miller, the response from the team. But the other thing, too, is UPL had a save percentage, 22 for 23 of 9.57%. And finally, yesterday's game, which got moved back an hour to accommodate for the Bills game. I heard that there's a lot of Bills fans at the Sharks game, too, kind of as like a tailgate type of thing.
Yep.
But at that game, the Sabres shut out the Sharks 3-0. We got goals from Middlestat, Tuck, and Greenway. UPL had a save percentage of 100%. And on the week, for us, he had a save percentage of 0.95 throughout the whole entire week. So, Sam, any thoughts from this past week for the Sabres?
Well, obviously, as you brought up, UPL. UPL is kind of the starting point for all conversation for Sabres talk this week. It does feel like we have a starting goalie now. It feels like we're moving into that 1-2. Was it you who was talking about that last week where you'd like to see us move into you have an established starter and then you have the guy who fills in the gaps, right? When you have back-to-back games or maybe I don't know, 3 and 5 or whatever. But UPL, he's looked good. He's played good. Obviously the Ottawa Senators game, he was all right, but his team kind of bailed him out there. But it doesn't even go back to just this week. In his last 5 starts, he's 9.50 save percentage with a 1.0 or 1.40 goals against average. Sorry, I'm tripping on my words here. But UPL has played great in his last 5 appearances, and he's 4-1 during that time. He's really starting to emerge as our starting goaltender, and that is what we wanted to see. It's nice just having a steady presence in the back and not really having to worry about it night in, night out. Levi, his top level is great, and we know that. We see it for individual games, but it seems like he probably can't sustain a starter's load or even a 1B load. And when he's playing, you need to give him time in between. And, played college, he'd only do weekends, right? Obviously he'd have back-to-backs on those weekends sometimes, but it's a whole different game when you're constantly, or when you're one, you're traveling very far, and then 2, it's there's constant games. maybe he wasn't cut out for the workload, but if you can cut down his workload by giving it to UPL, who's currently playing the way that he is, that's great for us to have as a team.
Yeah, no, and finally getting settled on starting goaltender, it's refreshing finally at this point of the season. And like you mentioned, Levi's going to be the backup. I know we talked about back in the fall, hey, send Levi down to the AHL to get some experience down there. But I also find some value of him kind of just staying up, being UPL's backup. And it's both two young guys learning the ways of the NHL too as well, so they can help feed off each other. And the big thing with Levi too is he doesn't really have NHL experience. So just kind of like traveling with the team and understanding each team's arena, like this is giving him a lot of value. But the biggest development out of all this is that UPL is living up to the expectations that we had when we drafted him, and he's playing at a level that's helping out the team a lot. Is it perfect every game? No, but is he giving this team a chance to win? Of course.
Yeah.
Really, like we said at the beginning of the season, this is all we're looking for out of the goaltender.
Another thing I'd like to point out just between UPL and Levi is that together they have a winning record.
Yep.
UPL this year is 8-7-2. It's that was Devin Levi. I'm looking at Devin Levi. Sorry. Devin Levi is 8-7-2 this year. UPL is 10-9-2. That's a combined record of 2 wins over NHL 500.
Both very young guys too.
Yeah. Where we've tanked this year is Eric Comrie, who's 1-5. Just like to put a little like thought into the if we didn't have any of the Eric Comrie games, we'd probably be like a NHL 500 team. We'd be pretty close to the playoff line that we have in the East right now. Like we are a fairly competitive team when we don't have Eric Comrie in net. Now, I don't like as a team, you have to be able to play in front of a backup goaltender because on some nights you're going to have to play a backup goaltender, right? You can't, no team is like, all right, even if you have Vasilevsky, you don't expect Vasilevsky to play 82 games.
Yep.
Your team has to be able to show up those extra like 20 games. It's not an like unsubstantial amount of time. But when we have one of our top 2 goaltenders in net, we have more than a fighting chance. And I think that's shown recently, especially with UPL starting to take the reins.
Yeah. And just having him continually play too is just going to help him out in the long run. Having these guys switch out every other game, or back when we had 3 goaltenders almost every 2 games, is kind of insane because your goaltender is not going to be setting up in a rhythm. And right now, like we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, you just got to play the hot hand. The hot hand right now is UPL. And just play him like until like the wheels fall off. Because right now, like I mentioned, the Sabres season, it's not a lost cause, but it's on the edge. I mean, it's on the Sabres edge right now. So we're trying to figure this out right now. So keep on riding the guy. We have a great schedule coming up right now between Chicago, Tampa Bay, Anaheim. I mean, we can win. We can go on a win streak right here, like I mentioned for the past 2 weeks. So and there's some good time in between those games, and they're all at home. Just play UPL. Don't even second guess anything because Chicago's down right now, Tampa Bay's down, and then if you fly out to Anaheim, Anaheim's been down too all season. So it should be pretty good. Yeah.
Tom seems to agree that 1 shutout for Comrie isn't cool enough for 6+ goals against. And I entirely agree with you. However, I am going to say something that completely contradicts that because you just mentioned riding the hot hand of Luukkonen, and I 100% agree with that. And as a result, I think that you should send Levi down.
You think so?
Yeah. Just on the merit of I don't think that Levi is worse than Comrie. In fact, quite the opposite. I think that Levi has played better than Comrie when he's with us this year. I think that if we have decided that we're landing on UPL as our number 1 goalie, you bring up Comrie or Tokarski and have them ride the bench instead of Levi. Give Levi the lion's share of the games down in Rochester, because we know that the level of the game up here can be a little too high for him with continuous games. Give him a bunch of repetition, give him a bunch of starts down in Rochester. Our defense down there doesn't seem to be great, so he'll get his fair share of practice in. We can bring back Subban as the backup goalie for the immaculate vibes that he has. He doesn't have to play. That's the thing.
He can be an anthem singer. I'm good with that.
In the current plan that you've drawn up, that I actually totally agree with. We don't really have a backup goalie play unless it's like a back-to-back. You can even be running it where you call back Levi when you're intending to do the back-to-back. I literally don't care who the second goalie is up with Luukkonen. You just wait you're sending Levi down just so he's playing more games. And at this point, it's not even like a punishment like it was earlier in the season. You're just giving it to him this is an assignment for you to just play games, be a starter, because we're handing over the reins of the net to Luukkonen, which they should do right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would be that much of an issue. Just be all right, whoever from the AHL that we don't think will be an issue to send through waivers, we bring them up and they don't play until maybe a back-to-back, right?
Yeah, I like that idea. That the only thing is, would Kevin Adams and Don Granado want to do that? That's the only question. They've been kind of stubborn on these type of things,
Well, I mean, ultimately, I think it would be better for the development of Levi, and I think that they should give Luukkonen the reins. So that's where I stand with it, at least. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if you can, the thing is, you probably can't, like you mentioned, if you're going to do a back-to-back, you always can bring Levi up. Obviously, on the West Coast trip that's coming up. Let me check real quick. They do have one back-to-back. You're not going to be, flying.
Right. You're
Levi out. Obviously, this is not something that's going to be happening anytime soon, but I mean, I like that idea. I think the goaltender that they would get, probably to back up, would ideally you'd want it to be. I don't even know.
I think you'd want it to be Comrie.
How's Comrie doing in the AHL, by the way? Do you even know?
That's a great question. We can find out.
Because if he's playing pretty well, then he might have his confidence back up. And if he's starting down there, he might be pretty warmed up.
For the Rochester Americans, he's played 2 games, has a 2.52 goals against average, and a .929 save percentage.
That's not too bad. I mean,
that's pretty good even.
That's a backup goalie expectation.
Yeah, an NHL backup goalie should put up about those numbers. So yeah. I reckon. And when he was a actual backup goalie, instead of trying to run him as starter. Starter like we did, he had elite numbers when he was back in Winnipeg behind who's the
Hellebuck?
Hellebuck, yeah. One of the best goalies in the league. So he didn't have to play that much, but when he did play, he was great. Elite even. So I think that you can do that with Comrie, although this year he hasn't been great. I still believe that if you put him in a true backup role, he'll be fine. Yeah.
I think Comrie started off the season pretty well, and even the preseason too. It's just he had that. I'm pretty sure his one win that he did have.
Man,
he got injured. He
had a good win, but
because I think he got injured immediately.
Just hurts, man. That's not a good record.
I think he had an injury immediately after his first win, and then this is just like last season. He got injured, and this season just went to hell.
Right.
Same as I think.
I mean, without his games of record, though, we'd be 18, 16, and 4.
And that's depending on how the team would play in front of them, like you mentioned.
No, that's just omitting all of the wins and losses.
Well, so obviously, it's game.
Yeah,
not that Sharks game, the Devils game.
Yeah, the Devils is not great.
Yeah,
but obviously, you do still have to win those games. But if we just erase the games from history that he played, we are 18, 16, and 4.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's a pretty good record. So. Yeah, no, so that's a good idea to entertain. If that's going in their heads right now, I'd be surprised, to be totally honest with you, because everything seems to be backwards with the management and the coaching of this team. So yeah, if they're watching, give that some thought right now, Donnie. Give some thought at Kevin Adams. That's going to definitely be a help to the team too. So yeah, were there any other things that you took away from those games at all either?
Yes, a very important one. Also, kind of pertaining to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. They had during the Sharks game, they had brought over or like a European Sabres fan club
Okay.
made their way over to watch the game,
Mm.
and they brought such a fun atmosphere to the arena because I don't know if you've ever watched like professional European soccer, but they
Yeah.
have like all their fun chants and whatnot. They had one for UPL, and it was a bunch of fun. And nobody really understood what was going on because they played it on the jumbotron and everything. Like they had recorded it before the game,
Really?
and they were like chanting in the arena as well. And it created a whole kind of different atmosphere. And even though there weren't too many people at that game because the Bills were playing that game or that day, and it was obviously very snowy, we were just coming off of travel bans.
Mm.
That was a bunch of fun. The atmosphere in that arena that game was so much fun. This is the Sharks game, by the way.
Yeah.
And I attribute a lot of that to the European Sabres fan club.
I wonder if they're from Finland. Or did they say
Maybe.
where they came from?
They had they had a sign. I think it said like CKS something. So I think it might have been like Czechoslovakia.
Oh, okay. That's pretty
But
interesting.
I could be wrong.
I mean, there must be some Dominic Hasek fans that are still lingering around that are Sabres fans still. So
Perhaps, yeah. I know
that's
that
awesome.
we've got like some small pockets of fans all over the globe, like Latvia for Zemgus Girgensson. So it's very
Yeah.
possible.
I wonder if Austria still has Sabres fans because of Vanek too. So that'd be interesting to figure that out.
That would be fun to see, but
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I mean, if there's ways they can bring more energy to the games, that's awesome. Because right now, that's what the Sabres need, and that's what the fans need. So that's a good thing to hear about that as well. So yeah, that's always exciting. Really, the only thing that I want to take away, I mean, and I kind of mentioned it at the beginning or when I was going over the games, is during the Canucks game we had Dahlin taking that elbow from JT Miller, and the biggest topic of conversation from that, just around what I've been listening to a podcast and on the radio too, is just the team's response. So we had basically right after the hit, Owen Power kind of addressed it in his own type of way. Which I mean, it's unexpected because you saw Cousins was right there too as well. And Power actually took a lot of criticism for the way that he approached that. I mean, I don't know what fans were really expecting out of Power to do right there. We kind of know what we're getting out of Power right now as a player. So the fact that he addressed it was kind of like a surprise to me. So I took that away as a positive. Like, okay, the guy, even though he left his gloves on, he still kind of like tried to go do something. Obviously he lost, but still, I mean, like, good for you, Power. I mean, there's times where I watch you on the ice or I will just watch you in general. I always wonder if you really care. Obviously, that's from the outside looking in, your teammates know. So that was always a good thing to see. And the other part that took that people were complaining about too is that the person that actually addressed it was Eric Johnson, who is our 35-year-old defenseman. And he shouldn't be addressing that in a fight with JT Miller. I kind of agree with that in a way. Now, I don't want to see Dylan Cousins doing the fight. A player that I like seeing addressing more things like that, even though he wasn't on the ice, would be like a Jordan Greenway type of player, just because of his size. And then, like, I mean, he seems like a tough player, even though he's building up his skill right now. You're a third line center, which is going on right now. You could be a little bit more tougher out there, man. I mean, you're one of the bigger guys on the ice. I don't want to see Eric Johnson doing that. I mean, the guy, he's barely getting through 3 games in a row. I don't want him fighting out there either because he's kind of bringing the stability to Owen Power right now. Do you have any thoughts to get from that at all?
Well, for one, I'd like to just agree with the 1 point. Owen Power, I'm just glad to see the little spark.
Yeah.
It does seem like sometimes he's just going through the motions, and that seemed to have woken him up that game. Like he saw that and he's like, hey, you can't do that, and chose to address it instead of just being like, someone else will deal with it, right? Which for stars, like sometimes you see that where they're like, it's not really my problem. We have other people on the team for this. No, Owen Power looked at that, and although it was kind of pathetic, he was like, hey, you can't do that to Rasmus Dahlin, and took it upon his own hands. I'm not sure that anyone else saw it. Like, I think I saw was Dylan Cousins like kind of moving into the corner. Like it didn't look like he really saw what happened. Like
I
I
think
think
Power beat him to it. It looked like
maybe
Cousin was kind of like the side. I don't know, and maybe Cousins didn't see if it was an elbow because the ref was right. It was awkward because the ref was
Right.
right there too. So I was kind of like confused of what happened right there. So, anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
either way, I'm like proud of Power. I'm not like
Yeah.
I don't think he did spectacularly well, but I'm proud of him for just like showing up saying, "Hey, like I've got my team's back because if you don't have your team's back, like how are they supposed to have yours?" And I think that he proved that like he does care. And I think that's important. Now moving on to Eric Johnson, I respect and actually like the play from him. He is obviously the like 35 old. You don't want him to like be kind of put out of shape by doing something reckless. But I do think that in his situation, like I think it's kind of clear that he knows that his body is kind of falling behind his mind. He still has the ability to like think the game at a high level, and he's just like slower, right? He's slower. He's got less of an oomph to him physically. He's falling behind the speed that is the new generation of hockey players. And that can be frustrating. So what he brings to the team now is his kind of leadership, and I think that him choosing to take that fight is kind of like shows that even though this is a team that signed him for 1 year after he won the cup, like he could be mailing it in right now. He could be like, you know what? The season's not going well for the team that I'm currently on. I'm just going to coast and they're going to trade me at the deadline and whatever. No, he's showing why he's worth it. He's bringing the leadership that you'd expect from a guy like him in place of maybe that skill that he may have had years ago. And I appreciate that from him. The one thing that maybe is not the best is the time and place aspect of it. As a result of him choosing to take that fight, we see Zemgus Girgensons as our fourth defender for I don't like 5 minutes, right? Because that's what the fight was. At the time, Darlene was in like some sort of concussion protocol. I think they were checking him out in the back room. And Matthias Samuelsson got injured earlier in that game. I think he actually was concussed. So, and like choosing to take that fight as a defenseman, bringing you down to 3 defensemen, that's maybe you want one of the offensive guys to take that initiative, but in a vacuum, I love the move. I really do.
No, and he's kind of like the Yoda to the young Buffalo Sabres, the young Padawans on the Sabres. Because they don't really, besides Okposo, he's the only other guy, and he's the only guy that's hasn't been in the system for a while, so he can lead the team a little bit more. So it's always good to see that, and I'm just hoping as the season goes on that kind of more guys pick up on this. Like my expectation, I think and I'm going to put it on Jordan Greenway, is for him to kind of be like a little bit more of like the power forward, tougher type of guy. And just because, and that's just based solely on his size, and you're a third line center, and there's some expectations that come off. Well, he's a third line center right now. He's a third line winger. You're a third liner. There's some expectations that come with that too. So that's pretty much it. I'm just glad that Lucic Ryan Miller situation didn't happen at all. Just because once that I actually turned everything back to this drought, back to that with the Sabres. With that Lucic hit, like that hit just stays in my back of my head. It's in my nightmares, just because the team's response to that was just so sad. And after that, Ryan Miller wanted nothing to do with the Buffalo Sabres. He wanted out. He didn't like his teammates anymore. He wanted to leave. So it's good just to see some, like you said, to see a response from a power who's not expected to do that, who's considered to be like eventually like a star on this team in the future. To kind of step up and do that. So, that was good to see. And for the people that are complaining about that overall, I mean, what did you expect? And I understand that some people are calling the Sabres the team overall a little bit soft, but it's like, okay, in the past you didn't expect this team probably wouldn't have responded. This time around they responded for their teammate. Yeah, it's not like the pounding that you probably would have saw when Chris Neal hit Chris Neal hit Chris Jury, the line brawl between the Sabres and the Ottawa Senators, but it was a response. And this team is just like we always mention, it's a young team. It's going to happen more. They're still learning the NHL at this point. And like you mentioned, that's kind of what's nice to have a guy like Erik Johnson doing that, to be that veteran leadership at this point of his career for the team. So, yeah. Really not – I mean, for as many games that we had for this week, there really isn't too much to talk about. Were there any subjects that you that popped up in your head at all?
Not particularly. Like kind of in the topic of talking about Erik Johnson, I covered the Zemgus thing. I thought that was kind of spectacular to see. Zemgus, real team player, ended up on defense for a few shifts throughout that game, so that was kind of fun. But also, we do have some comments in chat that we could quickly go over. So some mandatory love for Casey Middlestud. Absolutely. The guy is a 5-on-5 wizard kind of at this point. He's doing great things.
Yeah. He might be in our 3 stars. Just wait to see.
Just be. How about the Sabres? Hope they keep on rolling. Absolutely. We love to see we were talking about it the past few weeks where it's just win like 2 out of 3 of your games. And during the past 2 weeks, they've won 2 out of 3 of their games. So we're now 4 for 6 in the past 2 weeks. So,
and we got a win streak coming. I'm telling you right now, there's a win streak coming. Watch out.
Well, Mike says it would be nice at NFL playoffs if the Sabres could go on a 3+ game win streak. We haven't at all this year. And
Mike, this is the week. I am telling you right now.
Okay, who do we have? We've got we're already on we've already won the most recent game. Then we've got the Blackhawks. That's
tomorrow.
I mean, they don't have Bedard. They're the Bedardless Blackhawks. I mean, that's not going to jinx it, but we should be favored in that match.
Mm-hmm.
The Lightning, that should be a challenging match, to be real with you. I mean, even though they're not at the same level that they have been in the past years, like they're still kind of like they're still doing well. They're above us in our division at least.
There's actually conversations of them at the trade deadline being sellers and Stamkos possibly being one of those guys. I'm just saying things aren't so hot in Tampa Bay.
They are, for all intents and purposes, there's blood in the water in Tampa Bay. We can that's a winnable game. And then if you get to 3 there, I mean, you got the Ducks next. You could realistically see 4-game win streak.
Yeah.
So
Mike, I will bet you my Waffle House bet if the Sabres go on a 4-game win streak. If they do, you have to do the Waffle House. How about that, Mike?
And then some acknowledgement of NFL playoffs. Hello, love to see you here. And then they say they agree 3 to 4 game win streak would be amazing. Haven't watched them much. How's the Sabres defense doing the past 5 games? How do you feel the Sabres defense has done the past 5 games? That would be dating back to the Pittsburgh game.
I can't recall too much from the Pittsburgh game, to be totally honest with you. Let me go.
We won it 3-1.
Okay. That was a UPL game, though. UPL
probably
that.
Oh, game. Yeah, that was definitely a hashtag Ukko-Pekka Luukka win. We had 40 saves on 41 shots for a .976 save percentage, and that was also the one where we had the Rasmus Dahlin empty net goal. That wasn't actually an empty net goal. So
yeah. So then you have the Seattle game where we lost 5-2. One in Ottawa. That wasn't UPL's best game.
But it wasn't the defense's best game either.
Yeah. The defense, I mean, and then you stood up against Vancouver, which is surprising. I mean, 1-0. That's a pretty good game, even though, UPL played pretty well in that game too. And then San Jose, obviously that was another UPL win. Overall, I mean, the team's defense over that streak, I mean, it's just been what we kind of expected. They're not Ralph Kruger defenses, but they're not Don Granato high scoring offense, no defense type of team. It's just been up and down like the whole entire season. I think right now, really what we should be focusing on for this team, especially with the way the UPL has been playing, is just focusing on offense is really where my focus is on this team right now. That's what's going to win us games at this point, just trying to outscore the other team. I think the whole beginning of the season where they tried to focus on defense, like we mentioned, didn't work out. So
right.
I'm not too worried about it. Let's just worry about offense. What do you think?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't think that our defense has been – I think it's been, like, okay. It's been probably okay to, like, average. And if you take out the Devin Levi game against the Kraken, it's kind of clear that a lot of the numbers for the last 5 games have been boosted by Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. We've let in 5 goals in Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's past 4 games. So, I mean, like, he's kind of standing on his head to kind of be a crutch for those numbers. But, yeah, I think the defense has been okay. Obviously, you don't get a shutout with terrible defense in front of you. It just doesn't happen. But, like, I don't think that we would have gotten a shutout if Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen wasn't playing well as the defense being all right. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's been okay. It's been okay.
Yeah. I think my focus has just been totally on the offense and goaltenders, and defense has just been like, I come to expect what to expect out of this defense for right now. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mike sure hopes that we get that 3-game win streak.
And he gets to go to Waffle House.
Yeah. Tom asks about have you seen the new Lightning sweater?
I just took a look at them. The Gasparilla jerseys. I mean, they're pretty neat. Do you know what Gasparilla is?
I am unfamiliar. I saw the jersey. I'm unfamiliar with what Gasparilla is.
So Gasparilla is a celebration in Tampa Bay after this pirate that for long in the past that obviously sailed into Tampa Bay, and it's like almost like a Mardi Gras type of thing where they have like this old ship come into the bay and people party on boats and party along the boulevard, and it's Tampa Bay's Mardi Gras, basically what's going on, like their Fat Tuesday before Lent starts. So that's essentially what that is, and it happens for like over a month.
I can quickly share my screen here so that anyone who hasn't seen it already, I don't know if it's actually sharing. Why is it not sharing? Yeah, that's so anyone who hasn't seen it yet, this is the jersey that Tampa Bay came out with. I think kind of the point of asking this question, this looks weird. I think kind of the point of asking that question was it kind of looks like one of the Sabres jerseys.
Oh.
With the swords going through like the middle there.
That's the swords and the puck that everyone loved back in the day. That was like alternate for when they had the go heads. I mean, I miss that jersey too. I mean, I'm all for just going back to the go heads and that jersey for another 5-10 years, and then obviously everyone will get sick of that and switch over again. So
you got to have some of the variety, you know. But otherwise, I do think that the New Jersey is kind of fun. I think that it would have been cool if they decided to make the swords lightning bolts. I think that would have been a nice touch, but it is what it is. It's a good looking jersey. I saw a lot of people kind of giving it a lot of hate online. I'm not sure that that's warranted, but people are going to hate everything, so whatever.
Yeah, no one's ever not going to be in the middle. So, and we got Mike saying hell no to my bet for him. Come on, Mike.
Go to the Waffle House. Come on, you guys could go to Waffle House together. Wouldn't that be so cute? Mike, you could join us for a Sabres Edge. I could join you in the Waffle House as well. We could do a full Waffle House stream. That would be super cute.
Yeah.
24-hour stream, minus 1 hour for every waffle we eat.
I'm fine with that. We'll do it all for charity too. Like I said, the more money added, the more waffles I eat. There we go.
The one-eyed Willie with extra steps. I am not familiar with the one-eyed Willie, unless that's the one that we just talked about. In which case, I'm. Then I'm just embarrassed. Time to do some research. Oh, okay. Yep. Just the. Yep, I can see that. It's the one I'd really with extra steps. The jersey, the Lightning jersey.
Okay.
Who has the best chance to win a championship? The Bills, the Sabres, or the Bandits back to back?
I don't think the Bandits are having that great of a season. I know they won it last year, and last time I looked at the power rankings, they were ranked like I'm not a big. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm just a window watcher when it comes to the Bandits. I kind of like watch them from afar. I'm glad that they won a championship last year. Lacrosse really isn't my sport, to be totally honest with you. But from what I looked, I don't think they were too far. They were pretty low on the standings right now, so they're not having a hot start like they did last season. I think we have an obvious answer. It's the Buffalo Bills. I'm assuming you agree with that, Sam.
I would love it to be the Buffalo Bills, but if history has taught me anything, it's the Bandits. The Bandits are going to win.
I'm going to keep on saying the Bills. Bills are going to be my thought. None of us are choosing the Sabres right now.
You could also pick the Bisons. Can't forget about the Bisons. I still pick the Bandits, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember the last time like the Bandits were competitive. I mean, I remember a long time ago they were in the playoffs, and I went to one of their games. So
the Bandits?
No, sorry, the Bisons. Sorry. Yeah, I don't remember the last time the Bisons were competitive. I'm going to go with the Bills. Josh Allen all day. You have a superstar right there. He's going to win us the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is actually going to be this year. I'm telling you right now. I'm not making this a Bills podcast, but Bills are winning it all this year. Guaranteed. Lock it right now. Put in your bets. You're going to be making money. Guaranteed. Do it.
And it looks like Mike's gotten back to us, and I think he's kind of on board with the idea of joining us for that Waffle House podcast. So it's every time we talk about this, it seems like it's more and more likely to actually happen. So
yeah, I mean, I just have to make sure that I go for a run before and after, so I have a calorie deficit going into that because that's going to be a lot of carbs. So yeah, I'm down for it. Whatever. If you can set up the charity, this man can eat waffles.
And closing out the chat, the One-Eyed Willie, like from the Goonies. Love that movie. Great movie. I need to watch it again because I have not seen it in far too long. And then Mike thinks that it's the Bills as well. So Mike's joining you. Bills.
Yeah. I mean, Sabres are second. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
3 more years. So yeah, besides that, we kind of saw Benson playing in the top line in the last game, switching out with Middlestat. Kind of saw that commented it in a lot of the news too. He hasn't really been productive offensively for the team at all of recent, but he's still, even though he's put on the top line and he's a rookie, he still looks like a natural out there. And listening to the comments of Tuck and Tage, they say the same thing. Like they don't feel like they're playing with an 18-year-old player. How'd you feel he looked out there?
I thought that Benson looked really good, honestly. He does this thing every once in a while where he just has like a terrible turnover, and it seems like it's from like lack of just like muscle on the like if you watch some of the passes where he's had terrible like in zone turnovers, he just doesn't get enough of the puck to like get it out. And I do wonder about that. If it's like, I think you like technically you're gonna gain more muscle, but you should have a grasp on like your own ability at your current state. Like that feels like that's not him getting beat out in the corner by another guy. It's just him like not putting enough on the puck to properly get it out. So those feel weird. But looking past that, I think he kind of does the defensive style of Jeff Skinner, but better than Jeff Skinner. So he kind of slots into that line, I think, pretty well naturally. He's a great playmaker. He's got great eyes for the ice, and obviously he's not producing points at the moment, but you can like the path forward to how he ends up producing those points feels so clear if you just watch him play. I'm not worried about the lack of production, but I'm sure it would be nice for him. Like I'm sure he would like to see some more of those go in. Mm-hmm. But, you know, obviously not everything's always going to go your way. So you kind of have to just play it by ear a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's a young rookie. I know last year we had both Paterka and Quinn up there, and they kind of, I would say they almost like outperformed what I expected out of them for a rookie. Obviously, they're older rookies too in their 20s. This is an 18-year-old player. So, I mean, I didn't expect too much. I expected him to be a contributor on this team, to score a lot of goals and get a lot of offensive points. I really wasn't expecting that too much this season. So, but seeing that he's a fit that on that top line and the guys feel comfortable with him out there, that's all that really matters at this point. And it's just proof that he's only going to get better too.
Right.
So that's always good to see. Let's see. Mike's responding back. We are for our pace currently. One big run, and the Sabres could get into this race. Since Timmy is making a lot of guarantees, I guarantee the Sabres will have a playoff shot. Oh, okay. Not a playoff spot, though. How about we change that H into a P? Sabres with 5 games to go will be making a run for the final playoff spot. I mean, they're still in it. The East is NHL overall is kind of down right now. I think that helps out too, that the Bruins aren't going on this incredible run of winning just every single game possible. So yeah, I mean, they're still sticking in there. They just got to put string games together, like we've been saying, and they could be back in the race.
I mean, by the end of this week, we could be positive again. We could be above NHL 500, which is, I don't think we've done that this year. So the fact that we've stayed at least kind of level to that, and we're like still have that possibility is pretty like hopeful. It does feel like, because we've done that, if we do hit a big run, like Mike said, there's still that possibility that maybe playoffs are still attainable. But again, 1, you'd have to hit that big run, and then 2, you'd have to maintain like pretty good playing throughout the rest of the year. And we've been a little questionable at best, maybe recently. So you never know. And we still haven't hit a win streak longer than 2. So, a little questionable, but we could still do it. And then Tom says, I think we have a 5 to 8% chance of playoffs per the last stats that came out. And yeah, I believe that figure is about right. It's that natural stat trick.
Yeah.
But
stats are for nerds. They put a wet blanket on everything. Just kidding.
Who needs stats when I believe?
That's right. But either way,
occur me if I could read.
But either way, I mean, like we said, just be competitive for the rest of the season. That's all we're expecting out of this team right now. But if that gets them into a playoff shot, then hey, what the heck? That's always good too. I'm sick of seeing them at the top of the drafts. Let's go ahead. Let's just win some games and then, see what goes after that. Yeah. And then really, besides, like I said, there really wasn't anything too much to talk about. Did you hear anything more about Matthias Samuelsson, his injury? Because I saw that Cal Clegg. I always want to call him Clog, like a shoe. He got called up and then he was sent back today. Have you heard anything about Matthias at all?
I believe that it was technically it's an upper body injury is like their initial report, but I believe it was later released that it was a concussion. I could be wrong about that, but upper body injury, I believe he was maybe week to week. Yeah. So I don't know the Kale Clegg thing. I don't know why that happened. Obviously big roster moves, bringing up Kale, sending him right back down after the game. But yeah, I don't know that. I don't know why they would bring up Kale. Feels kind of just a weird. Did we even put Samuelsson on IR?
No, I don't think so. So I don't know who would be on what was the open roster spot at that time.
It's probably Jeff Skinner's.
Okay, so they didn't bring
he is on IR, but
they
didn't call anyone up after Jeff. We still have Victor Olofsson standing on the sidelines, but yeah, we still have an open roster spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting move. I don't think they want to subject. Hold on, does Bryson get subjected to waivers after being waived?
Bryson can be
every single time.
Yeah, every time.
Okay, so that's probably why they didn't call him up. But it's just also an interesting thing because I mean, they're playing so well right now. The pairings between Power, Johnson, Clifton, Ryan Johnson have been a great pairing together too, and then Yokiharu, Darlene. It's just been pretty stable right now. I mean, we really don't need to throw anything into the mix, is what I think. So I don't know. I mean, let's let that play out for a while. Let's not try to and see what we got there, and let's have Ryan Johnson play more ice time as well. So yeah, those are really all the things that we had to talk about for the week. So Mike brings up, so when is the trade deadline? I think I heard you say the Sabres might be sellers, but could we be buyers?
So the trade deadline, to answer the first question, is March 8th. So
That's
you got a couple months.
Yeah.
A couple of months before that comes up.
Hmm.
We did talk about the Sabres potentially being sellers. We talked about people like Johnson and Middlestat being potential pieces to move. What does our record need to look like by the time we hit March 8th for us to be buyers, in your opinion?
It's interesting because I still think they could still have a losing record and still be buyers at the trade deadline. But the buyers, in the terms of you're going to be giving up prospects and whatever, or giving up prospects or whoever for bottom, like power forward, third line, fourth line players, not like high end type players that they're going to be buyers for. So they're probably looking for like veteran guys at that point,
like Josh Bloom for Stillman. Exactly.
So that's where I can see them being buyers. I mean, the high end buyers and like 1 year contract type of guys, they're going to have a significantly over 500 record. Like they're going to have to be probably in the top wild card spot for them to be buyers. I think that's where they're going to have to be in the standings. As we all know, Kevin Adams is not all in for giving up prospects at this point, nor should he be. I can't really imagine them being buyers at this point in the season. If they do make the playoffs or in their wild card spot, I think they're just going to stick with the roster that they have and figure out something during the off season. To be totally honest with you, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that they're mostly going to just be content with what they have, as far as if we're in like a playoff spot by the time the trade deadline rolls around. I don't think that we're trying to really move people off our roster. So you'd have to make space. And like, maybe you could say like, hey, we found an upgrade for like someone like Jurgensen's or Eric Robinson, but I don't think you really, if you find an upgrade over someone like Benson, which I'm sure you could find, like you're not trying to push him off the roster right now. So being a buyer right now is kind of, again, like you said, like you'd be looking for a better fourth line option than like a Jurgensen's or a Post or something, although he's our captain. So you're probably not even doing that. If you're a seller, I think that we're considering buying if we're like one of the wild card spots or the like 17th team in the league or like 9th in our division or conference or whatever. But
and at this point, you don't want them to be buyers because they're not a Stanley Cup team.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Again, if we make the playoffs, it'll be great for experience, but we do not have the team for a very deep run. And we talked about it earlier, right? You still have a bunch of the prospects developing. This is a team that's looking to make their runs a few years down the line from now. And the playoffs would be great experience, as I just said, but like, yeah, you're not trying to mortgage a future to try and win now with the team that you currently have. It doesn't really make sense to do that. And otherwise, if we're kind of like a little bit below the line, I think that we're sellers. I think you try and move like a Jurgensen, see if you can get anything for him. I'm curious to see what they do with Middlestat, because maybe they could still sign him. I think to do that, you'd have to find a partner for Skinner's contract. But you know, that's still possible.
In the NHL, I don't know. I know in like baseball, you can do it, I believe, is where a team can pay for like half the contract and the other team takes the other half. Can you do that in the NHL?
So you can do that. You can do that in the NHL. You can retain up to 50% of a contract, I believe. So some lucky team could have Jeff Skinner for $4.5 million. And honestly, that's not a bad deal for them. Like,
that's market price for him, to be honest.
That's probably below market price. We would probably get an asset back, I'd assume, actually.
Yeah.
Jeff Skinner is a 65-point guy, 30 goal guy, $4.5 million for that. He's not going to be the best at defense, but yeah. And I think that's worth it if you can retain Middlestat.
In the long run, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So maybe we see them attempt to keep Middlestat in exchange for Jeff Skinner. Would you be able to do that at the deadline? I don't know. Maybe that's something that happens after the season. You might see Eric Johnson leave. That's probably a big one that other teams could want. But other than that, we honestly don't even have that many guys that would be coveted around the league. I could see some team making an offer for Greenway, although I would be upset to see him go because honestly, he's one of our better defensive forwards, and he's great on the penalty kill. So,
yeah, there's an article that came out right before the Vancouver game that they were interested in Greenway back at the trade deadline last year. So they're definitely a team that has their eyes on him.
All it would have cost them was like a second, and they didn't do that. So
yeah,
I hope the price has gone up since then. But
he's having a better season, so
he's certainly having a good season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that we're only a buyer if we're really in the race or we're already in a spot, I think, by the deadline.
Next question.
Hypothetical. Sabres make the playoffs, then the Stanley Cup. Which team are they playing in the Cup?
So the Western Conference team?
Yeah.
Ooh. So let's think. It's Avalanche or Knights are the two teams I'm thinking right now. I mean, if I want the revenge that everyone wants to have, I want them to face the Knights and then beat Michael. So I'm just going to go with the Vegas Knights. I mean, they're still playing at a top high level right now. I think they're the best team in the league. So, yeah, Vegas Knights. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the best team in the league for the Vegas Knights is a high praise that is maybe not deserved, but they're good. They're certainly good. I'm not trying to take that away from you. I think that the Jets, they are playing. I've watched some of their games this year because they're they weren't great at the beginning, but they've really started shooting up. I think they had a 10-game win streak recently that just recently broke.
Yeah,
maybe. But they were playing during that win streak just such an elite level of hockey, and it's systematic. It's not one player taking the reins and being like, this is my team, I'm going to take over games and dominate. The way that you sometimes see with our team, where sometimes a player will step up because we don't have a great system in place, or you'll see a group of players. No, it is up and down through the lineup. They're just playing at a high level together. They're following a system, and it's working out for them. The way that they forecheck aggressively leaves teams with no time to make plays in their own zone. It's great hockey, and if they need to fall back on it, they have Connor Hellebuck. So
yeah,
I really like what the Jets are doing, and it's not just because they're at the top of their division right now. I do think that the way that they're playing is sustainable and a good brand of even playoff hockey. I like it. I like what I see out there.
Buffalo native Alex Afal is on that team. And that was a team that basically everyone wanted to jump ship on the offseason. Then, a month into the season, Hellebuck signs. And who's the other guy that they have on that team that also signed too? It starts with an E, I think.
Ehlers?
Yeah. They both signed long-term contracts with the team. So I don't know what happened within that first month where the team just decided, or the players decided, oh, yeah, I'm sticking with this team. But good for them. It's nice to see Winnipeg, a small market team, competing right now. And if that works out for them, that's awesome too. So, yeah. And then, Mike, so asking about Patrick Kane.
He is 19 games, 7 goals, 9 assists for 16 points and a -3. So doing Patrick Kane things. Yeah. It's about on par. At this point in his career, he's kind of like a Skinner player where he can put up great points, and by God, is his defense going to let you down?
Mm-hmm. Is Larkin back for them? I know he was injured for a while. I forgot what the hit was.
That was a hit from an Ottawa player, and it was kind of the awkward double hit where he kind of gets pushed from behind and then falls into one of the players' kind of butt ends of their stick. And
Yeah.
he did get concussed there. Larkin has a history of concussions, so that's kind of scary. He was out for a few games, and I do believe he ended up back. I don't know if he got injured after that, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, because I
And
know
he did return.
that literally that happened the game before Patrick came back. Kane came back, and then Kane kind of like everyone's like, "Well, you got to carry the offense now on the team." So, and he actually did pretty well for his first couple of games back. So,
Right.
Like you said, he's doing Patrick Kane things. So, yeah, I really haven't paid too much to the Red Wings, to be totally honest with you.
From all like the fan noise I've heard, it's kind of what you'd expect. He's doing well offensively. He's just sub like point per game with 16 and 19. And he's not good at defense, and he's never going to be.
No.
It's not one of those players where as he ages, his defensive game matures.
No. You got him for what he is right now, and it's not going to change at all. So,
right.
It makes him what people say, the best USA born hockey player in history. So, I mean, keep doing what you got to do. Anyways, let's move on to our 3 stars. So, Sam, who do you have for your 3 stars of the week?
For our first star, obviously, we got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yep.
He's played great. No complaints at all. Even in the game that we lost, he let in 1 goal. That's not on him. Mm-hmm. The team in front of you is expected to score, and they didn't do that. So, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, you did great. You get the first star of the week. For my second star of the week, this is kind of where it gets hard because, honestly, I don't think too many people had a standout week, especially with us getting shut out 1 game.
Yeah, no video coaches
and our
either.
Defense getting bailed out by Luukkonen, so it's not like I can point to them and be like, look, they also did very good. I think I'm going to go with Henri Jokiharju. He drew into some games he drew into the most recent game after Samuelsson gets hurt, and he had missed the previous 2 games, and I thought he played really well. Obviously, Luukkonen ends up getting a shutout the game he's in. I saw Jokiharju contributing to the offense, and I've been a vocal supporter of, like, keep him in the lineup because he's one of your best 6 defensemen, and I think during this game it showed. He played great. I love seeing him out there. And then for my third star, I'm going to give it to those European fans because they made the atmosphere of that game so fun in a way that I haven't experienced the Sabres game this year because it's been so bleak. So shout out to those guys. They were having a great time. They forced everyone else in that building to have a great time. Even the Steelers fans that were there doing the same tailgate that the Bills fans were. Everyone was having a good time. Good hockey, good chants in the arena. And it was Kids Day. So shout out to those guys. You really brought a good mood into the arena.
Sabres should just hire them and just have them be like our cheer section. Like the Bills have the drum line. Maybe the Sabres should have like, this is our European fan section. They're going to bring like the European soccer chants and all that. We're going to pay you. You're going to stay here for the season. Then you can go back during the off season.
I would greatly support that because honestly, that was such a fun game and they were a major reason as to why.
Now I'm kind of upset I missed out on that. So
I can send you the chat into actually I can probably just stream it. I can pull up. While you're telling your 3 stars, I'll go get this.
So Sam, you said basically at the second part, there wasn't really any continuity for any players on this team besides UPL. I mean, you had Middlestat who had in the Sharks game 3 points. Thompson versus Ottawa had 2 goals, but no one really kept the same throughout. So my 3 stars go to UPL. I just decided to give them the 3 stars.
That's 1 for each game.
Yeah.
Works out.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's all I want to do. 9.5 save percentage. Like we said at the beginning of our first show, we just needed a 900 goaltender to win games, and he's giving us a 9.5 right now. So, I mean, and the 1 game that we lost, he had a 9.5 save percentage. That was on the offense. So, I'm just going to give the 3 stars to him. There's really no one else that's deserving of it. We need more guys to play continuously well. So, follow in UPL steps. That's all I'm going to say right there. So yeah, those are my 3. That's my 3 stars.
I have that video for you. This is the UPL chant. So
okay, all right, looking at this already. I think we're on StreamYard.
Oh, can you not
There's
hear
always
it?
there's
Or
something
do I
that
have to
goes
like?
on. There's something that goes on where I see that they're wearing the Goat Heads jerseys underneath those. I mean, the Sabres made them change into like the old alumni jerseys. What's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I love
They
that
got
though.
the fun hats. I like those hats. Could you not hear the video though?
No, I can't hear the video,
Oh,
sadly. But is that one
well,
guy wearing a Mulgilney jersey, 89 right there?
it could be Tuck.
Could be. It looks older though. It might be Mulgilney. I don't know. I love him. I love it though. I
Yeah.
mean,
Either way, if you guys want to watch this video, it's on Rachel Hopmeyer's
okay.
Twitter. So go
Awesome.
check her out. Give her love anyway, because I did steal that video from her. But they're basically chanting Luukkonen, Luukkonen, Ukko Pekka, Luukkonen. And it's great. It was fun. It was awesome. Love those guys. And yeah, Tom saying yes, Euro fans. Love to see the spread of hockey internationally.
That's great. So yeah, before we close out the show, I just wanted to go over one thing that happened with our prospects, and it happened 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry that we didn't bring it back earlier, but it is a trade that I'm kind of blown away by what the value was. So Matt Savoy, our 2022 first round pick, got traded from Wanashiti to Moose Jaw. Whatever. Essentially, what he got traded for was a 2024 first, third, sixth round pick, 2025 eighth round pick, 2026 sixth round pick, 2027 first and second round pick. I mean, that is a lot to give up for a guy that you're going to be having for the end of the season. He's going to be in the NHL next year.
I think that the way that the WHL works is a little differently, though. You're trying to just always kind of win if you're one of the top teams, you're just trying to win the whatever championship is down there. And I think getting Matt Savoy has worked out well so far for them. He's played one game and has 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. So it's working out. I mean, those picks in the future probably aren't even worth that much. That's a guy who's you traded Matt Savoy for a bunch of 14-year-olds based on the year that a lot of those draft picks are in. It is what it is. Obviously, you're giving up a lot of draft picks, but the system works differently down there. And again, 1 goal, 1 game, 2 goals, 3 assists. If he continues at that point, I'm sure Moose Jaw will be incredibly happy with that trade.
Yeah. I think he's I think last time I checked, he's way over pace for points right now. It's insane. I think he's had the most points for a non-Bedard player. I forgot what the exact stat was because Bedard played last year. Anyways, he's doing it freaking amazing down in the WHL right now. So that's cool to see. And yeah, it was just a quick little prospect update. And then Mike, he wants us to finish off. So you have to finish off with a food question. I know Mike loves talking about Buffalo food, and it makes me hungry every single time because now I live in Portland and I don't get good Buffalo food. And he's specifically picking up pizza. So Sam, what's your go-to pizza place?
Listen, this is just gonna show my bias to my local restaurants, but I grew up eating a lot of Delorio's. Love Delorio's. It's honestly nothing too special, but it's like comfort pizza to me. I love it. So I'm gonna pick that.
I've never been to Delorio's. Where is that? Is that in Amherst?
It's East Aurora.
Oh, okay. Where is it in East Aurora?
Do you know where the Oakwood Plaza is?
Yeah. It's in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the pharmacy?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because I grew up in Orchard Park, so I know where that is.
All right.
Cool. So my place is Imperial Pizza in South Buffalo. I mean, I dream about that pizza. I mean, I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's nothing like Buffalo pizza. Portland sucks. Portland has terrible pizza. It has no flavor, barely any sauce, barely any dough, barely any cheese. It's thin, it's gross, it's disgusting. So I just think of Buffalo pizza all the time. I've tried recreating my own Buffalo pizza. I actually bought a Buffalo. I have it right here. I'm going to drop something. Buffalo cookbook.
Oh, that's awesome.
It has a recipe for Buffalo pizza in here. So I am going to be trying to recreate Buffalo pizza here in Maine because I am homesick without my Buffalo pizza and my Buffalo wings. And I just refuse to eat pizza here. I haven't had pizza here in forever. So Imperial Pizza. Thanks, Mike. Yep. I'll be dreaming of pizza tonight.
And he confirms Cali pizza is terrible. Buffalo pizza, it's a thing. It's good. If you guys are ever in Buffalo, if you haven't had it before, it's like a thicker, it's kind of like homelier, it's like thicker. You got more sauce, like more cheese. It's not like a New York thin slice, but it's got its own charm. So
it's great for the winter. It's a great winter pizza.
Yeah. Mike would like to see you eating that homemade pizza on the next show.
We're going to be trying. We'll do trial and error. I'm actually going to be in the process of moving soon, too.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So
we're basically going to move on from being a Sabres podcast. We're just a food podcast. Coming next week, we're talking about pizza. The week after that, we'll be eating waffles.
I mean, yeah. Whatever. I mean, I'm down for that. I mean, do we make a pizza waffle? That sounds actually disgusting.
That sounds terrible. Great thought, though.
Let's not do that. But yeah, I'm down to talk about Buffalo food. I just know I'm gonna have stomach pains for the rest of the night thinking about this food. So thanks, Mike. I appreciate you for watching, and obviously appreciate everyone that's been watching. Tom, Mike. We have NFL playoffs that's been on the show too. That's been popping up too. Keep on coming on. Keep on bringing on questions, especially on a week like this where not too much to talk about, surprisingly, even though we have 3 games. So there
is still one more thing to talk about. I can sense you wrapping up kind of abruptly here.
Yeah, go for it.
We have 3 games this upcoming week.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's important to talk about, the upcoming, just kind of give a shout to that so people know what to expect in case they aren't watching too closely. But we got Blackhawks tomorrow, 7:30. They're in our arena. And then on Saturday, we've got the Lightning, 12:30 p.m. early start. Be aware of that if you intend on watching. And then we are making our way out west. We've got the Ducks, and it's one of those late starts. We get 10 p.m. That's on a Tuesday. We will have done our show before that game happens. Because of that, so we will be the pregame show to that Ducks game.
Yeah, I'm down for that. That's
come
good,
hang
actually.
out. We finally won't have to narrate through the game. We'll be able to talk and be like, okay, now this is what's going to happen. We get to watch a game afterwards. It'll be a nice break for us for the normal Tuesday game, but it is still late. I cannot stand those late games. They're kind of the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a late night guy, so I'm gonna be tired boy for the next couple of weeks. So, and sadly, no Bedard when it comes.
Yeah, we will not get to see Bedard, which I do like. As for our chances of winning, that greatly helps. For me wanting to see good hockey, that does not help. So,
yeah, exactly.
You'll be missed, Bedard. But anyway, what would you like to see out of the team during the next, I guess, 2 games, because the Ducks game happens afterwards?
So the next 2 games are Chicago and Tampa Bay.
Yep, closing out the homestand.
Win out.
I
want you to win out. I mean, Chicago doesn't have Bedard. Well, who do they really have on that team besides that? I mean, that should be a win. I mean, they're a step below you. Play above them, like you've played against the Sharks. Continue that going. Tampa Bay's coming in. I believe they beat Tampa Bay at the beginning of the season without Vasilevsky.
We may have.
I think they did. It was a while ago. Either way,
yeah, that game was quite long ago.
What I'm trying to say is you're going to beat Tampa Bay too. I mean, that's the old dog.
We
And
beat Tampa Bay. It was the second or third game of the season, and it was in overtime, 3-2.
All right, and that's fine, even if it's an overtime win this time around too. I mean, Tampa Bay isn't the same Tampa Bay. You shouldn't be afraid of them, but play playoff hockey against them. That's where you're going to learn your playoff hockey. So I'm expecting 2 wins leading into a 3-game win streak that's going to lead into a 4-game win streak when we face Anaheim next week. Sam, what are your thoughts?
You know what? I love it. Close out the homestand with wins. Give us a 3-game win streak. We can do it. I believe in us. It's possible. We already saw it. We got another win streak to start the year. That was great. I'm so proud of you guys. Do better now. Get 3. It's you got this. It's a homestand. The fans, they're with you. So, yeah. And you're not facing great teams. It's very doable.
And bring some more European fans.
Yeah, bring the European fans back. Make sure they stay around.
Send flights every game. Just home games. Just send them in. It's fine. We're good with it. So, yeah. I think I'm good to close out the show now, Sam. I think that's everything.
Yeah, you can wrap up for us. Give us a great outro.
So, yes, like I said, let's win out the rest of the week. Everyone, I appreciate you all for joining us. Like I said, NFL playoffs, you've been new to us lately, so thank you for joining in and asking a ton of questions. Mike, same with you. Tom, same with you. We are so appreciative of you all coming on here. And like I said, on slow nights like this, you guys keep the show driving, so we appreciate all your help in asking all these questions. So thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on our channel. And we do have a bunch of Buffalo Bills content going on too as well. So definitely check out their show. They have a show going on tomorrow. I think it's going to recap yesterday's game and then the next game coming up. So definitely check us out. Set up notifications, and we'll see you next week, Tuesday. Have a good night, everyone.